I think it's important we call out how destructive negative rates are. And I don't want to sound like a fearmonger, but let's remember the Great Depression in the 1930s really happened because of the toxic mix of tariffs and beggar-thy-neighbor currency devaluations. That's why the post-World War II regime, Bretton Woods, was about a general agreement on tariffs and fixed exchange rates. So it's the toxic mix of the two. Negative interest rates are just a screen that central banks are hiding behind to run beggar-thy-neighbor policies. It doesn't really work. It's a nice theory that it might stimulate domestic demand. It's not happening. It does not stimulate credit. The Japanese banking system and the European banking system is shriveling up in front of our eyes. It's lipstick on a pig of beggar-thy-neighbor currency devaluation. And that should be called out. I sure hope Christine Lagarde, when she gets to the ECB, will call it out. It's terrible.
So, Peter, I mean, maybe behind closed doors, I don't know. She's pretty political. So, Peter, like, what do we do about that? Like, do we have to then, I mean, if we're in this kind of trade war scenario, it's not just the U.S. and China, it's the U.S. and Europe, it's the U.K. and Europe, it's going to be Japan and South Korea. If we're in this world, what do we do to get out of it?
Both tariff wars and beggar-thy-neighbor currency policies are they drive to the lowest common denominator. That's the problem. They're not growth-oriented. They're both destructive, stealing demand from someone else and thinking we're going to make it up on volume. And so you've got to call back from that. You've got to call them out. And I just think it's time we did that. It's not working to have negative rates and thinking people will consume more. Savings rates are going up in Sweden. And the economists there say, gee, despite the negative interest rates. No, because of the negative interest rates. Negative interest rates might be a tax on future consumption. Actually, it's an income tax. Actually, people experience it as a tax on their income, and therefore, it slows the economy down. So we got to call this out. Central bankers have a taboo against capital controls, and they want to sort of pretend they're not running beggar-thy-neighbor policies. And negative rates looks like something virtuous, like you're solving the zero interest rate boundary, when really you're just hiding behind that.